All right, please welcome Azad.
Well, hey guys, as Evgeny mentioned, today I'm going to present our mobile automation stack that we have here. And I divided my presentation in three parts. First part would be I will explain our actual stack. Second one, I will talk more of the more advanced topics that you can automate. And the third part, I'm gonna tell you a little bit how, actually, if you wanna set up mobile automation in your company, I'm gonna show you how you can do that in more easy steps. All right, so first of all, before I'll start, let me introduce myself. My name is Azad. I'm a part of the stat team here in Chai Market. And so I'm also one of the co-organizers in Test Pro Meetups. So I also did few other ones before this year and last year. So maybe you saw me there as well. I mostly talk about the mobile because that's what I mostly work on it here. And today is also not an exception. All right, so let's start then. So this is our basically stack overview that we have here. So it's only for mobile automation. So we have a Appium, and we use Python to write our mobile test there. And we also use Conquer CI. It's our CI tool, which actually building our builds and do all the CI stuff. And we kind of more and more integrating with cloud rent device solutions, which is AWS and Device Farm. All right, and let me actually, Okay, how many of you guys heard about what the Appium is? Or maybe work on it, or kind of have some idea? All right, how many of you think that nowadays, Apple providing their framework, testing framework, CI test, and also Google providing Espresso, and who think that using Appium in 2019, it's not the case? It's kind of outdated and, All right, we have a few people here. All right, so today I'll be in the opposite side, and I will tell you why Appium actually is not dead, why it's living, and why we're still using it. Well, so first of all, Appium supports XUI test and Espresso drivers. So as I mentioned before, Apple and Google, they did amazing work building these drivers, which actually doing a lot of great stuff. And there's no reason actually for Appium team to build their own drivers. They actually reusing it, and which says Appium is actually not the replacement for that. It's just an additional layer in your test, and so basically you're still using XUI test and Espresso. And so this is the first part. The second thing is Appium is also considered as a Selenium for mobile, right? Have you guys worked with Selenium? Any of you? Have some idea? Okay. So basically, if you work with Selenium, it will be extremely easier for you to start with Appium because Appium using kind of the same API, and a lot of things will be really familiar to you when you will start to get work on it. So because of that, Appium supports most of the popular programming languages, the same as Selenium. Basically, all the languages that Selenium supports, you can use in Appium as well. Also, let's say if you're using a Python, right, for your web test, and let's say if you're already using a Python to automate your backend services test, you can also use kind of the same stack to automate your both Android and iOS platforms, right? So you can kind of build common methods, and you can reuse them in Android and iOS if you need it, which is the opposite for XUI test and Espresso test, because as you know, Apple kind of strict about the languages. It's only two languages, Swift and Objective-C. The same for Espresso. You basically need to build test automated framework only for one platform. And it's just easier to get started with, like Appium. There's a lot of tutorials. Like Appium was, like it's like pretty old. It's a lot of guidelines, and it's just easier. I mean, in my opinion. All right. So that was our stack overview, and now I'm going to talk a little bit more advanced things that you can automate. Because automating UI stuff is kind of easy, right? You're just opening the page, you're verifying the elements are present, you're verifying the functionality. I mean, it's kind of easy, straightforward, and like nothing much about it. So, do you guys know what the deep link is? Alright, so for some of them who doesn't know, deep link actually allows, after you click on it, it actually opens a specific screen and the app that was requested. Let's say, I mean, did you guys use any TryMarket app that we have, like for Android or iOS? Alright, let's say if TryMarket wants to launch new product, right? Or if like TryMarket wants to launch new category, it can just send promotion email, like, hey, we are like launching a new product, click here to open it, and after you click on it, it will open it in the app, and it will open the same product. It's basically the same as a URL. Like after you click to the URL, like in a browser, it will open this product. The same idea. And so this is a scheme, how it actually works. Let's say, I mean, in this example, if you search for Shazam, it will show you the model with Shazam, and after you click to the install button, so here's the two cases. If you have Shazam installed, it will basically offer you to open it in a Shazam application or in your browser. If you don't have it, it will actually go to the Google Play or Apple Store, and after you will install it, it will open the application, and also it will still deep link. So it's also considered as a deferred deep link. All right, and how can we test it, right? So basically here, you're not testing just one application, right? So if you want to emulate real user flow, you need to like emulate user's action, right? When you're opening the external application, let's say Gmail or Yahoo email or like anything, you will need to click to the link, and you basically need to verify the exact screen is opened. Here's how we do it in TryMarket. So I recorded this video. Let me go here to play it. All right, it's really short, so I'm going to tell you what's going on here. So basically, we built a testing application with list of the deep links. So it opens the first app, it's finding the exact deep link, and it's click on it, and it's verifying the TryMarket application is opened, and it's verifying that exact PDP that was requested is open there. So, let me actually. All right. Yeah, so nothing much. Just how you can do that. Because back in the days when I was implementing it, I spent my time like how can I do that, how other people do that, and that solution was work for me. All right, so next thing, push notifications. I mean, you probably guys all know what the push notification is, right? That basically pop-up messages that appear on your screen. It may be like reminders, I mean not reminders, but maybe like text from the external app that's sending to you and asking you to click on it, and after you click on it, you will may get like a promotion or like anything else. These push notifications, they also may have a deep link inside, so you may have a deep link notification saying like, hey, we have a sale for this specific product. If you click on it, it will open, it will basically deep link to this product. And so here's a problem to test push notifications. Yeah, this is basically an example how it's like, looks like the Gmails or like anything else. So here's the problem: how to test push notifications, right? Because push notifications, they are not. Well, basically, you need external service to trigger this push notification, right? So to do that, you will need to build your script that it will like run the cron job for you. And the second thing is you won't be able to get it in simulators. You will need to use real devices to do that. In a real device, you will need to verify that notification is present, click on it, and after that, verify the application is opened. And also you can verify that exact screen is opened in this application. All right, so I also have a demo video. Well, I recorded it from my testing device. So basically, you won't see the full logic behind it. You will just see the actual, like how it looks on the device. So basically, push notification is triggered. You're just clicking on it, opening, and opened on the specific requested PDP, because this deep link is also, this push notification also have a deep link. All right, that's it with advanced stuff, and now I'm gonna tell you a little bit more, because usually, like in the meetups that I presented before, there were many people who were asking me like, hey, how can I'm kind of in the age when I'm setting up mobile framework in my company from scratch. Like, can you give me any advices how to start? So basically, if you want to start, let's say, Python and Appium, you can, like, first of all, you will need to install Python, and Pipe is basically the package manager system for Python. And after that, you will need to install Python client, and also you will need to install the Appium desktop client, so it will be easier for you to inspect the element, find their, find their accessibility IDs, or like XPath path, or like anything related to that. All right, so this is a simple, like really simplified installation part. So after you've done that, you will need to, this is an example of the, like, really robust, but it's still kind of simple code. And if you run it, it will actually run this simple one test. All right, so after you will install all the tools, and after you use, let's say, this template, and you're clicking, like, if you also will need to connect, use like any simulators or like connect real device. After you will do that, and you will need to run this, command. You can use like PyTest. It's like also testing framework for PyTest, and in my example in a code, I show you how to write test and unit test testing framework, but Python is actually supports unit test, so you can use like PyTest to run your unit test. All right, so you're running this command, and boom, you have your application automated. Right?
So you just need to cut the finger.
Yeah, you just need to cut the finger. Yep. All right. So also, if you don't want to write to do all of this stuff, you can go to my GitHub page, and I also have already a framework for mobile automation, so you can easily download it, follow the instruction, and start to work on it. Should be easy enough. That's actually it for me, guys, and I'm very excited about your questions.
Any questions?
Go ahead.
Why can we not use push notifications on a simulator?
Because you will need to register device in an external third-party application, and it won't register your device if you install it in a simulator. It will register it only if you install a real device. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
What's the percent of flaky tests in your skills overall?
It's a tricky question. Well, so I mean, I'm trying to make them more stable, but like I still have flaky tests, right? And I'm still, it's kind of like, I mean, you can use like any best practices. You can use like any like explicit ways, like to explicitly waiting for the elements. Or you can like use the testing data, right? You can actually mock all the data to like remove all the dependencies from the services, but you still kind of have them. Let me think. Let's say if maybe like 10% of the chance. I mean, I need to take a look, but 10% of the chance, like if I run my test, it will be like a test that will fail, and which is like not actually failed.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
The test cases that you're writing in Python, do you run the same test cases on Android and iOS?
No, because the logic for the application is a little bit different, and there should be, yeah, I have like separate test suites for Android and iOS.
What do you use for reporting?
For reporting, so basically we don't use like any tools. Yeah, it's just like a basic report just providing, and that's usually enough for me. Yeah, I don't like generate, like, I mean, there's actually plenty of tools to do that, and like if you want, you can like choose like any of them, but for me, it's really like enough to use it. Go ahead.
On a slide that you showed for deep linking, like the video, so did you create an application to mimic the deep link?
Yes, that's what we did. That's what we did. We did create like a simple application.
With the deep links inside it, and you're opening that application first, clicking it, and then checking.
Yes, yes. But at first you need to generate it, and sometimes you need to regenerate.
That's like a separate test application.
Yes, 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 exactly. That's why I show you like how like two applications are running on the same stream. Yeah, go ahead.
So I noticed that you said that you guys are using Amazon device farms.
Yeah.
Have you guys worked with any other device farms as far as like Browser Stack or Sauce Labs, or do you guys just choose?
Well, previously we had like some kind of issues with Source Lab. For Browser Stack, I guess we're using for a web, but not for automation, for manual checks. But we start to use a device farm, and it's pretty satisfying so far.
Why haven't you guys went with Browser Stack for your devices?
I just started to look on it, and I liked it, and I like the variety of devices, and that's like basically satisfied all my needs at this time. And I mean, now it works, and for me, like, for now, like, no reason to switch. Yeah, go ahead.
I can only ask if it's a third-party tool, and I'm just using the accessibility to access phones. So, and then Android phones, like especially that contains a blockchain phones, like the new one that's not. The accessibility thing is completely disabled. It's not even on the phone. What's your approach to testing those devices?
Well, it's a good question. I will definitely need to do like more research about that. Yeah. I feel like, well, you can also use XPath, right? For that, like you can like, I mean, it's not.
There's no accessibility at all because you can probably use native tools. Like for example, for us, we can provide the app and we're going there. But for the app build, there is no way you can even access anything over there. It just doesn't give you check mark to do it. Because anyway, if you want to automate and do it nice, that check mark has to be disabled in developers also.
Yeah, that's interesting. We just didn't face that problem so far, and that's why I didn't like face it. But I will. Well, maybe or maybe not. We'll see. Yeah. Go ahead.
Can I use it as a part of my CI pipeline?
Well, if you want to automate your mobile application, yes.
How hard is it?
Well, I mean, like you still need to know how to code, right? It's not like kind of tools that you can just record something. and playback. I mean, which is basically bad practice. Like you can create like simple tests using like a record and playback, but you still need to know how to code actually, like how to work with Python or like any other languages. I would say if you like use already built simple frameworks, like empty frameworks, it should be easier than if you do everything from scratch. But you know, it's hard to say for me because for me it's easy, but for other people maybe not. Yeah, go ahead.
What are the top 3 or 5 types of assertions that you use? For example, you open the deep link, you are checking a product. How do you check that it's like the exact product? Do you look at text or something?
Yeah, you can verify by the product name, basically.
Yeah, and like which kinds of assertions are the most common in your tests in your code base?
Well, it really depends on the screens that I'm checking. Like if I'm checking the product detail page, I will check the product name probably. In most cases, if I'm testing product listing page, I will check the like PLP title that I'm actually on the same page. Okay.
Yeah, do you do like gray box testing, checking what can happen from the like developer's perspective, or that's just black box testing? That's okay. As a user, I tap here, I see probably some product. Do you try to cover some cases depending on how the code was built, like internally?
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, I mean, for example, if you know that if user presses a button and if he is at California, then he should have like 8% or 9% tax for this sales tax. Otherwise, he doesn't. And sometimes you can get such requirements like from requirements themselves. And sometimes there are some like paths inside the developer's code, and you don't see it from requirements, but you know that, oh, it can do this or this, and I should probably test both of these.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I see. No, it's I would say like in this level it's mostly like black box testing. Like, I don't know like how it's actually built.
Okay.
From my perspective.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. Yeah. You first.
Where do you run your app with iOS? Like, when you try to integrate the automation framework, you have to, with your CI/CD, you have to go somewhere to run your test, right?
Yeah.
But for the Appium, when I was setting it up, I found out it's kind of hard to build the Docker image because for iOS testing, you need to install the app code, which is not working with most of the Ubuntu or Linux kind of image. How do you guys solve that?
Well, basically, in automation, it's always better to use real devices, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we're like building the AWS device farm just to run these devices. And we are also we actually like running it there. And in development level, I just do it from my local machine. But you can also you can basically have your own laptop and connect to it and basically run it right there. Yeah.
As part of your CI/CD pipeline, do you block any releases or deployments from going out based on the results of your automation testing?
Yes, that's what it's for, actually.
I mean, like in an automated, fully automated fashion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for CI/CD, do you run tests in like developers branches, or first everything is merged to some like release?
Release branch. Yeah.
And how long does it take running all the tests?
Well, it's a good question.
Approximately.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like on the way of parallels the threads. So for now it's like 2 hours. You know. Yeah, go ahead.
How often does design change, so you need to rewrite your tests?
Well, it's also a good question, but that's a question like how do you design your framework, right? I'm not like building my test knowing my design will never change. I'm like kind of like building my framework knowing like it will be changed frequently, and how can I prevent amount of work after this change that I need to be done. So that's why you're kind of like using all these best practices, like I don't know, page object model or page factory and all those stuff. You just well, I'm also like participating in the grooming sessions, right? I'm kind of like know ahead. Okay, so this part we're gonna change, and I will need to. I mean, I kind of know about that in advance. And also like developers, they usually like tell me, hey, we kind of like this, we gotta change this stuff, and it probably will break your tests, and just give me a heads up, like, and I'm just fixing it. Yeah.
It can be a good topic for the next presentation.
Yeah, probably. Anyone else, guys? Or I'm good to go? Good to go? All right, thank you guys. Thank you for listening.